Welcome back. We're going to continue with Rome in this session. I want to talk about cities, Roman cities. I want to talk about trade as well. Rome, if you picture it as a sort of an organic thing, expanding, contracting sometimes, expanding again, people have to be assimilated into the empire. How do we do this? How do we take foreigners and make them Romans? How do you win the hearts and minds of far-flung people from the British Isles to Mesopotamia? These new citizens will begin to adopt Roman laws and Roman culture, participate in the vast circuit of trade, this vast economic system. And of course, they'll enjoy the protection of the Roman legions. So we have an emerging urban world in the Mediterranean basin that is Roman, but it's also very cosmopolitan with just a wide variety of peoples. Roman construction engineers discovered that they could mix volcanic ash with lime and create a building material that's very similar to concrete. And we still have buildings and other structures today created in this fashion, as it has a long shelf life. So Roman cities are built rationally, that is, on a grid. Roman architecture still prevails. You can drive through any town in this country, and you'll see examples at the courthouse and other public buildings of Roman architecture. Now, Rome itself is sort of the exception to this rule of rationality and a grid system for the streets, because Rome is the earliest urban area, and it grows sort of organically, piece by piece. Roman cities have theaters and temples, public baths. There are public spaces for the people, marketplaces, brothels, amphitheaters. When you think of Greece, when you think of Greek buildings, you think of temples. When you think of an Egyptian structure, you think of a pyramid. When you think of Mesopotamian structures, you think of the ziggurats, like we talked about in the Tower of Babel. When you think of Rome, you probably think of the amphitheater, the arena, the stadium, which proliferate throughout the Roman urban areas. Roman engineers devised sewers that would channel waste away from the city to rivers and seas. Roman civic infrastructure probably unsurpassed until modern times. Pompeii, you probably heard of this. Pompeii in 79 of the Common Era was destroyed. The volcano Vesuvius blew its top and destroyed this Roman city. This is down the Italian peninsula near Naples, so it's in the southern portion of the peninsula. Pompeii is extremely interesting because it gives us a snapshot of a Roman city at the moment of its death. I want to direct you to a YouTube video, and we'll provide a link for it. It's called "A Day in Pompeii," full-length animation. This is the most remarkable depiction that I've ever seen of the destruction of Pompeii. And it's about a 12-minute video, but you'll get a chance to take a look at it. So we have the preservation here of a Roman city, ironically destroyed by Vesuvius and the volcanic ash and the poisonous gas and the fires. So it's destroyed on the one hand, but preserved by the ash on the other. Archaeologists have chipped away at this ash, and as they go deeper and deeper and deeper, a Roman city emerges with its public buildings and its baths and its bakeries and its brothels and so on and so forth. This allows archaeologists and historians an up-close look at Roman life. You see the lives of the wealthy and the sort of fabulous villas of the elite. You see the common people packed into much smaller residential places. The excavations have uncovered all those things of Roman public life. You can still see mosaic tile decorations and murals painted on the walls. There's a forum there, a marketplace, a theater, a gymnasium, an amphitheater where gladiatorial displays took place. The city reveals how everyday Romans lived in the first century of the Common Era, at the very height of the Roman Empire. And you can just Google Pompeii as well, and YouTube will bring up a variety of videos for you to look at. I remember watching one Italian archaeologist who had spent the better part of his career excavating Pompeii. And as he encountered these empty spaces in the ash, I want to say a vacuum, but it's not really the right word. A cavity, I suppose, is the best word. He encountered these cavities as he dug down into the ash, and he was inspired to fill these cavities with plaster. And then he let them dry and chipped away, and what emerged but human beings, or at least the outline of human beings at the moment of their death. So I urge you to take a look at these, some of these videos depicting these images, these plaster images of Romans at the moment of their death. So let's talk about trade for a few minutes. We've been talking about cities, and we talked about Pompeii, and Pompeii was a great trading city on the seacoast in southern Italy in the Mediterranean. Rome, ever expanding, more and more people living in cities. How do we feed them? This is the basic question. How do you feed so many people? You have to import grain, and there are granaries on the periphery of the empire, perhaps the most important being Egypt. The Nile Valley, the Nile runs north there through Egypt to the Mediterranean, and the Nile sustains large-scale agriculture of grain for pasta and bread. I read a statistic said 8,000 tons of grain imported weekly back to the capital city. 8,000 tons. You have to keep urban people fed. And this, again, is a long-running theme in European history. So the Romans are importing goods, grain, and other things from Egypt and Arabia and Sicily and Spain and from the Far East, for that matter. Rome is sort of the marketplace of the world. You can find items all the way from China, traveling west along the Silk Roads. You find silks and furs, ivory from Africa, linen and spices, fish sauce, cherries, olive oil, pottery, on and on and on. Just a vast emporium of imported goods. Even metal. A lot of the metals are mined in Spain. You think of gold and copper, silver. Roman merchants sailed the Indian Ocean. They traveled the Silk Roads. They brought back exotic spices and silks, perfumes from the Far East. So it's a sort of an enormous trading zone. You can think today about the EU, which has been in the news a lot lately, with the British taking their exit from it. Just a vast trading zone where just a huge variety of exotic goods are made available. Now, I want you to keep this in mind as well. Rome is going to increasingly import more and more things, including slaves, as we talked about, while Rome will export less and less. Again, we're becoming an economy of plunder instead of one of production. What does Rome export? Well, it exports Roman culture. Roman culture follows the legions as they move to the periphery of the empire. Roman culture follows Roman roads to the periphery. And as these roads and as the legions move outward, Roman culture follows it in every direction, with its cities on a grid, with its amphitheaters, and its public spaces. So remember that these new conquests are going to will continually bring treasure and slaves back to the center as the periphery is expanded increasingly into the 3rd century of the Common Era. So I'm going to stop there with Roman cities, Roman trade. Next time we'll talk about the Punic Wars, a long series of wars between Rome and Carthage. So we'll pick that up. Thank you.